Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the final part of the Productivity Bootcamp. We have come full circle. We've talked about calendars, keeping your head empty. We talked a little bit about task managers. So to close off, I wanted to answer a couple of questions that you guys asked below the videos or that I got when I talked to people face to face about these topics. So a couple of common questions around the topics that we discussed. So let's dive in. Michael asked, how exactly are you using one system for both work and other stuff, especially when there are different systems being used at work? So here the example is that you are using a task manager or a calendar for your stuff, and one of the things that we discussed is that you need one single system to store everything in. And it is very well possible that at your work, different other systems are used. But basically, my advice will be to copy them over. I think it's important that you phrase the task you do in a way that makes the most sense to you. So it could be that if you use a bug tracking system, or you use Trello at work, or you use any other kind of system, things are phrased in a different way. And I really like to make them my own, to make them my own actions, my own stuff, my own tasks that I need to accomplish. There is a little bit of duplication there, but I think it makes more sense. For me, that's the only way to really feel in control, if I own all the tasks in my own system. So one other smart thing to do here is there are places where you use these duplicated systems. So in my case, I have a couple of documents that I use to track certain meetings, and certain action points are logged in these documents. So what I'm doing is that on my weekly review, I specifically mention these documents that I should check them. So every week on Friday when I do my weekly review, I go over these documents, I go over these other systems to make sure I've got everything covered in my own system. And finally, use the system that works best for you. So if you are using a very good system at work, please don't hesitate to also use that for your private stuff and the other way around. This is not always possible because sometimes you cannot really choose what kind of software you use at work because of restrictions or whatever. Still, the best possible scenario is that you use one system for both work on your desktop or on your laptop, and that you can bring it to your home PC or machine or whatever you're using, and that you can use it on your mobile phone. So second question, which task manager should I use? This came up a lot with people that ask me stuff like, okay, I downloaded this and this tool, or I'm using this and this system, what kind of application should I use? And it is, frankly, it's quite personal choice. But there are a couple of go-to tools that you should check out first. So for Mac, there are a couple of good options. You have Things, you have OmniFocus, you have Todoist, and you have Wunderlist, and they are all really good options to pick as a to-do manager. Wunderlist has an excellent free version, although it's a little bit tricky because Wunderlist got bought by Microsoft, so I'm not completely sure how much development will still be going on to improve Wunderlist, but it still works fine and there's a free version, so it's really a good option. Things 3 and OmniFocus you pay up front is quite an amount of money. You easily pay around 40 or 50 euros to get started with just the Mac app, so you also need to buy the mobile phone version, but those are really good apps. And you have Todoist. Todoist is a little bit different. They have a paid version, but they also have a free version which is quite restricted, but there you pay a monthly fee. One really cool thing about Todoist is it works on all kinds of platforms, and Todoist is a great option for working together actually with someone else on the same list of tasks. Oh, and by the way, Wunderlist has that same option to work together as well. For Windows, Todoist again, Wunderlist again, and Microsoft To Do are great options. So they are all three pretty good tools which you can basically use. A little disclaimer, I'm not a Windows user, so I don't know exactly how it works, but from what people are saying, these are really good tools on Windows. Yeah, so final remark, make sure the app supports your phone as well, because if you want to use OmniFocus or Things, you're stuck with iOS basically, so you cannot use it on Android, which is kind of sad. Final question, I can't seem to stick to my weekly review routine, so what should I do? Okay, so in the previous part of this productivity bootcamp, I talked about a weekly review. This is a session to structure the stuff that's in your head, structure your life, and will basically keep sane, keep your stuff on track. But it is essential that you actually do it. I get quite a lot of questions around, okay, but I want to do this and I started it, I did it once or twice, and then it can't seem to, stick. I cannot make it stick, I cannot make it through every week, so I'm lagging behind, and this is a problem. So here are a couple of ideas on how to fix that. So first up, do you actually stick to the stuff that's in your agenda? This is an important point because all the stuff that I talked about in the other episodes are built on top of this thing that what is in your agenda you do. And if your weekly review is there, you go and do your weekly review no matter what. Yeah, so I do mean that you need to train your discipline in actually following through on what's in your agenda. The second tip is, did you pick the right moment? So for some people, Fridays work best. For me, Friday afternoons are perfect. It's a way to close off my week, to finish my work, and to head into my weekend in a way that really allows me to relax. But it might be that for you, Friday afternoons just don't work because there's too much stuff going on, there's beers, there's whatever. So you need to find another place. So if it's not working, you could try another time. So maybe Fridays in the morning. Some people that I know do it during the weekend, which is also fine. So pick whatever spot that works for you and experiment with that as well. So try to move it around and try to figure out what time actually works best. So the third suggestion is that it's very well possible that you make things too big. While reviewing your agenda, the stuff that you need to cover during your weekly review, you find that you're overwhelmed, that it's too much. So the solution here is to start small, to only pick 1 or 2 items that you can start with, maybe even decide to go ahead and start your review and work on it for 10 minutes to see if you're able to do just that, and make sure to guard that time, to basically just do that. Make it a habit, make it something that sticks, make it something that returns. So the final tip, if you find it really hard to complete your weekly review, you could also consider doing it with a friend. Doing it together on the same time, maybe on the same place. So by helping each other to stick to this weekly review, you keep each other accountable, which is really good. Alright guys, that's it for this week. And that's it for the Productivity Bootcamp. I really hope you got something out of this. So feel free to ask any questions around this topic or around productivity or the stuff that we covered before in the bootcamp. And I'm happy to answer them in one of the other videos. Thanks for watching. See you next week.